What's going on, everybody? Welcome to a fantastic live lesson on great guitar strumming patterns throughout the course of history. And today we're going to go over just kind of strumming patterns. We're not going to talk in downs and ups. We're going to eliminate that from your vocabulary because I hate describing strumming patterns in downs and ups because they're the most confusing thing in the world, which we'll get to. We're also going to talk about a couple different time signatures. 4/4, everybody's favorite. My personal favorite, 3/4, which is a waltz. Kind of talk about the difference between that and 6/8. And also, even for you crazy, wild and crazy people out there, a little bit of 5/4 madness, right? So I think we're going to start off just by talking a little bit about counting. This is a great lesson to grab your guitar, even though I know a lot of you just like to sit back and listen to me talk for hours upon hours. This is a really good lesson to have a guitar with you handy because we can create a synergy between each other and strum together in perfect harmony, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to start with A minor chord, and then we're going to just talk about different strumming patterns. We're going to start in 4/4. Hello from Denmark. What's going on, Ben? Good to see you. And we're starting in 4/4. So all that means is every bar has 4 beats, okay? And instead of going like down, 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 up, right? Just an A minor. All these are going to be A minor unless I say otherwise, because I want to kind of be able to get my hand in there. We're going to talk about counting numbers. So a bar of 4, instead of being down, 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 up, is going to be 1, 2, 3, and 4, and. Okay? So the numbers are going to be the downstrokes. Andrea, good to see you. Welcome to the party. Welcome to the live chat. So all the numbers are going to be downstrokes, and the word and is going to be an upstroke. So if I say 1, 2, 3, and 4, and, it'll be 1, 2, 3, and 4, and. Okay? Now a lot of you might be thinking, hey, this sounds a lot like down, 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 up, because it is, but it's a more musical and it's a classier way to explain that. And we like to keep it pretty classy here, which is why you're a Guitar Control subscriber. Isn't that right, Andrea and Ben and other people watching at home? So if we just do something really simple, A minor, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and bars of 4, super slow, sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, and. Now I think you can probably handle that one, get that one under your belt, because we're going to make it hello from New Jersey. What's going on, Edward? Andrea, it is beautiful, isn't it? That beautiful 1, 2, 3, and 4, and sound. What we're going to do now is we're going to make it dynamic. So we're not going to strum all 6 strings, or 5 strings, however you play A minor. Again, if you have the root note as an A, you play the bottom 5 strings. If you're just crazy, if you're like a wild and crazy guy or girl, you hit the low E string too. And get that E string in there. So if we just go down and up, all of them, we don't have a lot of dynamic in the strumming. What we want to do is break this chord into like pieces, into bands, right? Like a band on a stereo, like low, mid, and high. You can do the same thing with guitar chords, and that'll make that same 1, 2, 3, and 4 chord or strumming pattern sound actually musical and not just like, you know, the dude in the lunchroom at high school who decided to bring his guitar in and is really kind of annoying everybody. I know that you've seen that guy before. I was never that guy myself, I promise. But what we're going to do is, so we've got 1, 2, 3, and 4, and. What we're going to do is the first, all the downstrokes are going to be the low parts of the chord. I'm kind of aiming for the lowest 3 strings. And the upstrokes, yeah, we can do a reggae strum later on, for sure. The upstrokes are going to be the highest 3, so down, up, okay? 1, and. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and. You'll notice that sometimes maybe I'm hitting 4 strings, maybe I'm hitting 3 strings, whatever. Dynamic strumming. It's a 1, 2, 3, and 4, and pattern. All the downstrokes are the low parts of the chord. All the upstrokes are the high parts of the chord. I'm never getting all of them either way. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and. So we're creating an atmosphere with these dynamics. And what it's doing by backloading that bar, getting the upstroke on the 3rd beat and the 4th beat, it adds kind of a propulsion. And then the next step of that is, since we're getting the higher strings in there to kind of break that chord up, the end of that bar is kind of moving it forward even more just by reminding us the higher part of that chord. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, Okay, so it's really important to be able to count that out loud or in your head. If you're having trouble doing it, definitely do it out loud, even though it might seem kind of foolish at first to count out loud. Why is it foolish to speak out loud to yourself? I think that's kind of messed up. That is a mental health thing that our society really has pretty wrong that we need to improve on. So aside from that, we're going to start changing the chord. Okay, so we'll go from an A minor to a C major, keeping it really easy. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2 bars to C, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, and A minor. Kind of screwed that up. But lulled myself into a false sense of security right there. But I did want to kind of answer the one person's question about reggae, because reggae, different genres of music are going to have different kind of strumming patterns, different feels associated with them. And because we're kind of counting now, we can kind of talk about, in maybe a more musical way, what differentiates these different kind of patterns from each other. So what that would mean is like a reggae strumming pattern would be like, greetings from Colorado. What's up, Citizen Kane? Good to see you. So that's, kind of a generic reggae vibe strumming pattern. And if you see it, again, it's just A minor. 1, 2. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4. Okay, so it's still a 4 count. But what we're doing is we're emphasizing more of an upstroke on these. We're still counting in the same numbers. It's not as mechanical as the first one you did, whereas 1, 2, 3, and 4, and we've got 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4. And I'm kind of swinging it a little bit, so I've got it down. I have 2 upstrokes in a row, right? So we're kind of breaking the rule of just like the 1, 2, 3, 4 going on. Now we can actually eliminate that entire first downstroke. I like starting with that. 1, 2, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. Having that kind of thing to start off the bar is good to kind of get your timing where you're just on it every single time. Then, the more of a feel you develop for the pattern, you can just start to eliminate that entirely and just go upstrokes. So that was just A minor, G, C, A minor. 2, 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 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 3, and 4, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. So the counting is super important, even though I'm not really hitting many of those numbers. I'm saying way more numbers and ands than I'm actually hitting. But it just gives you the structure. Because if you're just like, okay, a reggae beat. Up, 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 up. Like, how do you write that down? How do you explain that? Just play up, 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 up. Makes no sense. You sound like a fool. You sound like you're absolutely crazy. So we need a counting structure behind any rhythmic pattern, and that's what the lesson today is all about. So reggae is definitely kind of swung a little bit with offbeats and upstrokes. Kind of like experiment with that in any way you want to do it. And a great way to do this is with a metronome, like when you actually kind of incorporate this into like your own practice routine maybe, is just get like a metronome app on your phone or one of those little kind of pocket devices and just have it click. And those clicks are going to be the downbeats. So like click, 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 click. 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you really want to do like a reggae thing, try to hammer home on those notes between the downbeats. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And notice I'm not going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and. That's a lot of sustain, right? A lot of what you're going to want to do is, if you're working on different guitar strumming patterns, is to choke the sustain of the chord. So like what I'm doing there is like 1 and 2 and. Okay, so for that right there, as soon as I hit this chord, this A minor, you can see that my hand releases that pressure. So I'm choking the chord. So I'm really just emphasizing the downbeat. If it starts spilling over, it's a lot harder to to hear where the downbeat is and where the offbeat is. And again, that's the most important thing in strumming, is really differentiating the feel between downstrokes and upstrokes, downbeats and offbeats, counting 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1 and 2. So that right there, all the offbeats I'm playing, the only beat I'm playing is the downbeat. And I think that's actually kind of a tricky one, because you're so used to not playing downbeats that when you get to the next bar, again, I'm hitting all the ands, just the one. 1 and 3 and 4 and, just like that, right? Even saying it dynamically like that kind of sounds weird because you're almost whispering the downbeats, but they're there. You kind of have to say them or else you're going to forget them. And then if you don't remind yourself of where those beats are, you're just kind of stabbing at moments in time, and that usually leads to bad timing. So always being aware of where those beats are that you're not playing, super, super important. So again, we're gonna do that again, just on A minor. We're gonna try to choke all the chords, emphasize all 4 off beats, and just hit the downbeat on the 1. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now you also might notice how like my pinky's kind of coming in to kind of help choke that. Another thing you can do if you don't want to use your pinky, if you just want to kind of keep this chord down, is use your strumming hand if you're using a pick or not. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. A really great way to mute the string set to kind of emphasize those different off beats. You got it for a downstroke. It helps you to count because you're still doing a motion with your hand. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 3 and 4 and 2. Okay? Now what you can do if you do that, you can get a little bit more percussive with your playing. So what that means is like really you're just kind of treating your guitar like a drum kit. So like 1 and 2 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and. So right there I'm kind of hitting the strings in a way that I'm really getting like a chick sound. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. One of the best ways to experiment with your own strumming patterns, which is eventually what you want to be able to do, because a lot of people, beginner, intermediate players, I think one thing that separates them from like an advanced player or maybe a beginner from an intermediate player is being able to diagnose strumming patterns just by hearing something, knowing where the accents are, which ones get hit harder, and just rhythmically the direction of the kind of pattern in general, okay? And if you have the structure where you can go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, you can start adding and eliminating different sustained chords, okay? So let's say I just have this blank slate, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and I want to add a downbeat to the 2. I'm just experimenting. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay, now maybe I want to add the 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, that's cool. But I want to add something else. I want to add an upstroke, so maybe the and of 4. That's how we'll talk about the 4's and, instead of being, what's the 4 and? That's kind of like a weird way to say it. The and of 4 is how musicians usually communicate that kind of stuff. So the and of 4 means 4's and, the last offbeat in the bar. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay? Now maybe we can add the 1 to it, the downbeat. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. It's all about counting however you do it. Again, there's so many different patterns, and once you add dynamics, how you're like approaching a chord, how you play a chord differently, maybe like the and of 4. Let's go back to the 2, 4, and the and of 4, and maybe like the and of 4 I'll get lightly. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Maybe I want to do the opposite. Maybe I want to dynamically, like, truly, like, hammer home on that and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Again, there's an infinite amount of ways to be creative within the framework of solid counting. Isn't that right, everybody out there? Please, I hope you're all following along. So don't be shy about speaking up during this incredible live feed on beautiful. Thank you, Andrea. You know what else, ladies and gentlemen? I don't want to say anything off the bat, but today is actually my birthday. So I'm so glad I get to spend my birthday with all the good people and subscribers at Guitar Control. So anyways, we've talked. Thank Andrea. Happy birthday. Wow, thanks. It's almost like I went fishing for that. Did not disappoint. So that's all in 4, right? It's all good and fun playing in 4. It's a good time. A lot of people will recognize it. But a lot of people say, Sean Daniel, what's your favorite time signature? 3/4. In fact, I live my life in 3/4. What that means is a bar is made of 3 beats. So instead of, hey brother, thanks so much, Richard. Thanks for joining. So 3/4. We're talking about 3/4. What better birthday present could I get than teaching the world to play more 3/4? Another word for playing in 3/4 is a waltz. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So some strumming patterns in 3/4 are really cool because you can get like a cool kind of like back and forth dynamic that is a very signature thing. Like. One, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So right there, that's a 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, and 3, and. Or we could think of that in 6. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, and 6, and. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, and 6, and 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, and 3, and. So if you notice the 1, if we break it into 2 bars of 3, the 1 is going to get kind of like a dynamic hit on that A minor chord. Again, always on A minor. And actually, no, we're going to go full Elliott Smith on this, and we're going to add the G right here. I'm going to add my pinky to there to make an A minor 7 chord. And it's going to sound like. Classic song called Between the Bars. If you haven't, definitely check that out. Yeah, Andrea knows. Excellent song, right? Such a good song, okay? And I think it's a great example of a strumming pattern that you can really kind of crush it with a really simple counting method. Again, 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, and 3. And. Now this is going to be more thought of in 6 because we don't cycle back again to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. So you can definitely hear the beginning of that next bar is on the low part of that A. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, and 6, and. Okay, so dynamically, I'm skipping the and of 1. I'm getting it pretty big there on the 1. 1, 2, and 3, and. Okay, so that first 3 beats. 1, 2, and 3, and. And then now if you notice, the 2, the and of 2, the 3, and the and of 3, I'm working my way the top of this chord. 1, 2, and 3, and. I'm kind of getting the middle. Maybe you're just focusing on the D and G strings. 1, 2, and 3, and. 1, 2, and 3, and. Doesn't matter, you know, it might take a while till you can really always get 2 strings without having to like look at it and teach your picking hand the muscle memory of that. But what you want to do is just aim for the D and G string. If you hit more, if you hit the B string, whatever, that's fine. If you hit all of them, that's fine. Just start trying to aim at pieces within these chords. So we've got 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, and 6, and. Okay? So now the 4 is going to be straight up the highest 3 strings. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, and 6, and. Now the 5, the and of 5, the 6, and the and of 6 are going to be back in that zone of the D and the G string. Neil Young strum, yeah. Neil Young definitely does a lot of strumming like this. Again, this is more taken from like Elliott Smith's song, but 100%. Everybody is influenced by the people that came before them. Neil Young, one of the great acoustic songwriters of all time, who definitely had a signature kind of strumming, dynamic strumming patterns that he used. So if you're a Neil Young fan, definitely kind of look into this kind of style, because you want to 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, and 6, and 1, 2, and 3, and there's that waltz feel that makes you kind of want to sway back and forth. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, and 6, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, maybe to an F. I'm actually making an F major 7, where I have the E string open, open E, 1B, 2G, 3D, 3A. Same strumming pattern. C. And then the next chord I'll do for this progression is a C major chord, right? And then after one bar of that, I'm gonna take the C, turn it into a B. So A minor, 7, F, C, turn that C into a B. You're pointing finger can plant here the whole time. 2 and 3 and 4, 5 and 6 and F. 2 and 3 and 4, 5 and 6 and C. 2 and 3 and 4, 5 and 6 and B. 4, 5. Now, the cool thing about strumming like this, and where it's really important that we talk about the ands of 4 in these patterns, is because they're going to be the most helpful disguise for you changing chords without having to wait. So it's not like, yeah, I love 3/4, right? 3/4 is the best. Please, live your life in 3/4. Join me and Andrea here as the champions of 3/4. Most of my songs, I say, are like in 3/4, just because I guess I was born that way. Born in 3/4, whatever, cool. So, like I said, the and of 3, I might have said something different. The and of 3 is what disguises our transition to the next chord. So if I'm going from this chord to an F, 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, and 6, and, right, the and of 6, or the and of 3, if you're thinking of 2 spots, I'm just getting an open string set. Then I get the downbeat on the 1. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, and 6, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, and 6, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, and 6, and 1. So just by having that and of 6, the and of 3, the back beat of the bar, abandoning the chord, giving yourself that precious time to get to the next one is hugely important. So definitely try that out between any chords you want to do, right? It'll sound great. This is just an A minor 7, F, C, B, change the root to a B progression, right? 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, and 6, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, and 6, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, and 6, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, and 6, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, and 6. The great thing about thinking in 6 is that you can take that, cut it into 2 of 3, and maybe change chords. So what I just did there is the A minor 7, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, and 6, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, and 6, and C, 2, 3, E, 2, 3, F. Okay, so I have 1 bar of 3, or a half bar of 6, however you want to look at it, it's fine. A half bar, or a bar of 3, of E7 into the F, right? And it really creates like a cool dynamic that is kind of jarring, because if you get into the zone of just like A minor to F to C to the B, you're almost kind of lulled into like a So when you get to those 3 counts, 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, 6. It's all about dynamically emphasizing, accenting those beats within a bar. Okay, and it makes a huge difference. So that's just kind of like I would look at that as like a top-heavy strumming pattern, because it's on the 1, right? 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, 6. Non-dynamically, that would sound like this. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, and 6, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4. I almost can't do it, not dynamically. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, and 6, and 1. Sounds fine, but once you start emphasizing let's emphasize something different. Maybe like a 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, and 6, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, and 6. I'm emphasizing the 2, the 5, and so the 5 and 6 hand, right? So 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, and 6, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, and 6, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, and 6, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, and 6. Totally changes the entire song, right? So that's just another reason why strumming dynamics is super important, okay? So some people consider 3/4 an odd time signature. Now, the reason that would be is because 3 is an odd number, but really 3 is kind of like a widely adopted traditional time signature. 5 is more, yeah, small breaks, sure. 5 is more of like a true odd time signature because it's so unnatural when you start out to count to 5. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you try playing a song in 5, it can be a challenge at first because to rewire your brain to count an odd time signature, even if you're not counting loud, even if you're trying to search for those beats, it might seem really, really unnatural. So kind of like what Richard just mentioned, breaks, we're breaking an odd time signature into something a little more familiar. So when I think of 5, usually I kind of will default think of maybe 3 and 2 because 3 and 2 add up to 5, which is some incredible mathematic guidance that you've gotten on guitar control here, which we didn't even think we were going to talk about math, but 3 and 2 does add up to 5. Since we just talked about 3 again, we could take a 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2. 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2. So that's just the first bar of 3. 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2. Okay, that's bar 5. So what I'm going to do is on the 1 of the 3 part of that count, I'm going to hit the A string, 2 and 3 and. I'm going to strum the higher part of that chord on the 2 and 3 and. On the next bar, the 2 count after that to make 5, I'm going to hit the low E string. 1, 2, 1, 2, and 3, and 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 1, 2, without counting it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It almost seems like it's switching too early. So 5 is a really interesting time signature I suggest you all try out. Some of the coolest songs is maybe like there's a really cool kind of grooving song that you maybe can't explain why you think it's cool, but it just has kind of like a different vibe. Something, maybe like a song called Overcast. If you type in Sean Daniel Overcast, maybe you'll find like a 5/4 song. It sounds really cool with like A major 6. Darn, YouTube lost you. Shameless self-promo. I'm just trying to come up with examples of songs in 5/4. Take 5 by Dave Brubeck. It's another great example. But I'm going to go with this one, that Overcast song, which I've heard is really good things about. So that's going to be an interesting one, okay? Maybe a little bit more advanced. This is going to be an A major 6 chord, okay? So your middle finger's on an A. Your pointer finger is on the 4th fret of the D string. Your pinky is on the 6th fret of the G string. And your ring finger is on the 5th fret of the B string. Okay, so there's an A major 6 chord. We're going to alternate by opening that chord up, the open E string. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 5. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 5. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 5. So I've got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 5. Okay? So I'm getting the 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 5. And those last two are just open E and then downstroke. And having those combinations, right? Just kind of like open up like a lot of different areas you do. Do it with any chord. Do it with like a C major 7 chord. There you go, yeah. Where the sky, Andre, you know that song? Where the Sky's Not Overcast? Wow, that's beautiful. Beautiful message for this, right? Yeah, really, really cool song. Anyways, the whole, I mean, if you want to know the whole progression, we're just going to do 4 chords, right? So A major 6. It's like a D, then a C. And I'm alternating the C with the G, 3rd fret on the A string. To an F major 7, E7. Again, pick any chords that you want to do, right? You can even kind of get crazy. G7. I think that 5/4 sounds really good with the stranger you can make the chords, better. That's what 5/4 is all about, right? Again, if you have trouble counting to 5, definitely go 3 and 2. I'm a fan of going 3-2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And once you have that down, then if you want to switch to 5, it's great. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2. So, 5/4, 4/4, 3/4, or 6/8, depending on how you want to break it up. Really doesn't matter. It's all just about different ways of counting. 7/4 would be another way to count something. Again, these odd time signatures where you're counting like out in space. Like how often do you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Might be weird to count that like A minor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3. Okay, that could be weird, but if you break that into beats you're more familiar with, like 4 and 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And eventually, you'll be able to count to 7 by counting to 4 and counting to 3. It's really like an incredible novel concept, right? So another thing I want to kind of go over is adding mutes. We talked a little bit about it before in the 4/4 timing. I want to talk more about it in the context of 3/4 because I'm a 3/4 guy. And this is how I like to roll. I like to party. So we're going to talk a little bit more about mutes, and we're going to do it. Let's do it with maybe like a G bar chord. Okay, so I've got my 3rd fret, barring the 3rd fret, 5A, 5D, and 4G. Okay, and again, kind of like we talked about, if we just have a concept of activity in your strumming hand, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. I'm getting the 1 and the and of 1. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. This is a good way to kind of build into a song by creating a dynamic. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 being able to have this going on autopilot puts your left hand in command, puts it in charge of any kind of strumming pattern you want to do. Down. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So right there, that's kind of like a popular strumming pattern that I'm sure you've probably heard in different songs. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now we did a little bit of that before with the reggae beat, but the difference here is that we're still keeping a steadiness that isn't totally accenting the reggae style of just getting the beats, the offbeats, offbeats, whatever. I kind of think we need a better term than offbeats, backbeats, and beats. Downbeats is such a good term that using like upbeats or offbeats doesn't really cut it for me. But anyways, we've got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And notice what the muting does. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and. How that's different from as far as the sustain of those chords, it's identical, but we're being anchored in that activity, so it almost is like a genre spanning. I think I said I was going to do this in 3, but I changed my mind on the fly because I just started playing in 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now we're going to add a dynamic within the muted part of this chord. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So even though we're not sustaining a chord at all, you can still add dynamics to your strumming with muted notes, okay? So what I mean by that, let's just start by muting the whole thing. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. On the 1, I'm getting an accent on the downbeat on the lower strings. On the 3, downbeat on the higher strings. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now that's the 3 and 4 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That's coming from. I'm not even thinking about my right hand now. I'm just in this pattern. I can put any kind of chords I want in here. I can do kind of like something jazzier, like maybe like an E minor 9. Again, same thing going on with my right hand. Now my left hand's just in charge. Maybe like a D major 7. A minor 7. G major 7. You can palm mute it. Find your like inner John Mayer. So anyways, I think that's just kind of where we're going to end it because it looks like the connection is getting worse. But I hope that you learned a little bit about strumming patterns and make sure to let us know what other kind of videos you'd like to see and definitely subscribe and stay tuned for more videos in the future. Thanks a lot.